Hello and welcome to the Ron Ross Radio Show podcast for this Tuesday, July 18th already. Oh my God.
Wow.
Just after 11 a.m. Eastern, and that's 8 a.m. in the West. And we do have a little bit of smoke over us. We had a little bit more smoke over us yesterday from the Canadian wildfires, but it wasn't as bad as it has been. But the heat has been relentless. And the ironic thing, and John, you'll be able to sympathize with me on this, is radio stations have to keep it super cool because of all the electronic equipment. Right. So the AC is set to like 65.
Sure.
I've had to bring jackets. I've kept jackets at work before. It was really bad at Sirius XM. I just thought it was, I would walk outside in 100-degree heat just to kind of, get the feelings back in my limbs. It was very, I know I shouldn't be complaining. I'm not complaining. I'm just telling you, this is a reality that happens when you work in radio. And the same thing's happening at Key 103. They keep it nice and cool. It's wonderful inside. Nice. But every now and then I gotta step back.
It's frigid. Same thing in computer cold rooms as well. Working in the internet industry, it was the same idea. Yeah, servers. Keep the servers cool.
And that's the thing at Sirius XM too, is because in the Washington, D.C. facility, all the servers are there.
Right.
So you literally would see engineers who are wearing winter jackets going in with their clipboards and their
anoraks
just to work on stuff. So yeah, but it's been gorgeous mornings. Greatest wife ever and I have enjoyed sitting out on our deck, and then we just sit there and have our coffee and play our stupid computer games. Wordle made me very angry today. It took me 6 to get Wordle today. Have you done Wordle yet, John?
I refuse.
What?
I actually get irritated when people post that.
I was irritated. Well, I'm gonna get you on board, John. You can get.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
I am. I will not come on board.
Greatest, yes, you will.
I will decline. Who's with me?
No, you totally will. Greatest wife ever and I, we love, we Wordle together, and then we have a friend who's in the group, really? And then we send out. I don't post it up online.
No.
However, when people do post up on their Facebook page, and I see some of their guesses, I'm like, oh no, it's a clue. So, well, one of these days, my pilot word is going to be the word, and I'm gonna get it in one. I've had a couple of twofers, some threes, a lot of fours, and lately 5 and 6s. Last week I didn't get it, and I was pretty bad. Yes, Jesse just posted on our Facebook. Wordle is part of my morning routine.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
By the way, you can call anytime and leave a message, and we would love to
this is true.
Listen to you. You can tell us anything you like. 240-415-9090. 240-415-9090. Literally, operators are standing by.
Doing nothing.
And say hi to us. We would love to hear from you and what's going on. Also, share this podcast. We're live now, and I keep getting messages that, I missed it live. That's okay. It's still there. You can listen to it anytime you want, whenever it's convenient for you. And it's also available. The audio version is available wherever you get your podcasts. How soon afterwards, after the live, John?
The audio thing, it depends on what's going on in John's life, generally speaking. How busy a day I'm having.
You know what? So let's say 24 hours.
Something like that.
Sometimes
a little bit longer.
But share on your socials the podcast here for the Ron Ross Radio Show podcast.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to get into it. Now, we posted yesterday on the Ron Ross Radio Show podcast, the Facebook page, that we were going to get into artists that you love that are just not mainstream. So we're going to get into that in just a little bit. Just hang on for that. Stephanie posted, never post online, square word, Wordle, Quirtle, Octordle. See, no, you're an overachiever.
Wow.
New York Times mini crossword every day over morning coffee. Get on it, Stephanie.
Can I just say, I love Stephanie. Thank you. I have no problem with anybody playing these games.
Yeah.
I have a problem with it filling my feed. And I don't want to miss your other posts, so I don't want to hide you, but Don't do it.
It's not that hard to look at the
so
feed
annoying.
and click like, okay?
Just
It's
annoying.
not that hard. It's fine. It's fine looking at somebody else's feed from Wordle.
All right.
Easy there. John, Taylor Made Tuesdays. Feeling a little spicy today. Feel a little sassy. A little sassy.
Got a little sass, a little Tabasco in my juice this morning.
Yeah, apparently. So I wanted to bring you up to date. Daughter, the younger, was on her first ever transcontinental trip. Was in Europe for what it amounted to like I lost count. It was like 3 weeks, but she landed in Berlin. Never been abroad. And she and her boyfriend, they landed in Berlin. They did a couple of days in Berlin. Then they flew to Budapest, Hungary. And then from there was to Madrid, Spain. And then from there to Lisbon, Portugal. And then they flew home finally. So I have to share this, though. And they did everything, and she, although the girl can't keep her finger on the filming button on her phone for more than 5 seconds. She sends us like 10 videos, but they're only 5 seconds long, 3 to 5. I'm like, you please stop.
That's how the kids do it nowadays, Ron. That's the TikTok thing. Then you splice them together and you have a nice video.
What? I ain't TikTok, am I? I need a little more.
Triggered now.
I need a little more.
5-second videos.
I'm not triggered. I'm not triggered. I did ask her. I said, can you send us videos longer than 5 seconds? She's like, no.
Okay, so denied.
So anyway, I have to share this because we have a group chat, right?
Right.
Our whole family group chat. And it's greatest wife ever, daughter of the older, daughter of the younger. Who her name is Carolina now. It starts with a K, and she has her band Swerves. And look for Swerves band on. You can buy all her music on Apple,
right? And
Apple Music. You can get it wherever you get your music. You can download it. She's on Spotify. Swerves. Anyway, so she posted. This is Sunday night, 8:16 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Landed. Every baby in the world was on my flight.
Oh, I can relate to that one.
Hold on, John.
Go ahead.
And 3 of them were sitting right next to me, screeching and shrieking the entire flight. I'll tell you, it was a 6.5-hour flight coming from the Azores, Portugal, to JFK. 6.5-hour flight.
Mm-hmm.
So then she tweeted, if you want to follow her on Twitter, she tweeted, there should be a baby-free option on flights. So let me throw that at you, John, because you fly a lot more than I do.
Okay.
And I'm, and I'm fine. And usually when we fly to Florida, it's a 3.5-hour trip, maybe 4, right?
Yep.
And if there's an unruly baby, I'm fine. And I have headphones and whatever. And so on. And I understand because trust me, the baby could be in pain with inner ear pain. We don't know, from the flight. The baby doesn't know how to blow and try to, even out the pressure. Baby doesn't know. And baby is restricted to this small little area and can't move around. It can't do anything. And, and then if it's smaller, it's got, I'm being empathetic.
Okay.
Or is it sympathetic and especially with moms and dads who are trying to corral and,
could be both, by the way, I think, you could be showing empathy and sympathy at the same time.
Is it?
Right? Okay.
I get it. I
think. Correct me, somebody. Go ahead.
However.
However. Right.
Semicolon.
Okay.
I'm an older adult now.
Yeah.
I've done my baby time.
Right. Uh-huh.
I would like to have a baby. I don't know. Am I being... Now, look, my grandson can do no wrong. All right? But he's the best kid in the world. I'm sorry. Even when he was a baby, he was perfection. John, you're going to figure this out when you're a grandfather as well.
Right.
All right?
I will.
But is it rude to try to ask for, would you pay a premium, say an extra $25, $35 a ticket for a child-free flight?
Would I?
Yeah.
I use these headphones.
You're canceling.
Yeah. So if there's too much noise going on, I just turn it up a little bit.
So it's not a thing.
It really isn't. Although I tend to, I have, because I fly enough, I sit further towards the front of the plane. Not always all the way up, but
Mhm.
further towards. And so those usually are for frequent flyers. But and it's not a thing. But I mean, three babies, I could see where if three babies were crying on a
No, it was
plane, then
every
that
baby
would,
in the world.
well, so I could see there where
I
it might
just
get a
love
little
her
frustrating.
sarcasm.
Every baby in the world was on my plane.
Everyone,
It's a
she's
lot of
got
babies.
just this much patience. I
So
mean,
I don't think I would pay the extra money personally
okay.
for that.
But you would buy like really nice earbuds
If you
for
are a frequent
$200-$300.
traveler, yeah,
Yeah.
noise canceling headphones or decent headphones that
Oh,
block
there you
out the noise are the way to
There you
go.
go.
That's it. And you know what? Amazon, $30. Very well spent.
Nice.
Yes.
I
Link in
actually
the show
have
notes.
some, where are they? They're around here somewhere. I have some wireless.
Yeah.
I got some wireless earbuds, but they're not the I brand, the Apple
No, I
brand.
don't have that either.
And I was at the Five Below. You know the Five Below store?
Oh yeah. Everything's
Yeah,
below $5,
$5.
supposedly.
Well, they have a section in the back now that's 5 and up. I
It's
think it tops out at 10. So I got like these little headphones for, I don't know, $8, $10 maybe. I
I'm
think.
gonna send you the link to these later.
I thought they were great. No, they weren't great. They're fantastic. It was I still don't know how it works though when I get a phone call, because I mean, like, I answer it, but I mean, I think I have to have the microphone on the phone near my mouth, or else they can't hear me. It's
If
not, there's no mic on the headphones, right?
that's some of them have it, some
Yeah.
don't.
Do those, the ones that you have?
I've never answered a call on these because the only time I really use these
Yeah.
are in air, because
Okay.
when I'm out running, I use noise, not, what do they call it? Bone conduction headphones. So I
Ooh.
can actually hear what's around me when I'm running. So those I've answered calls on, and they do have a microphone. But so I don't know. I think you just need to check. It's one of those
Okay.
things. Yeah.
You're listening to Tech Talk on
Tech
the Ron
Talk
Ross
on Ross Radio Show
podcast. Okay, so I've been lately listening to a bunch of other podcasts, and just to listen to them and see what's going on with these podcasts.
All right.
And one of my favorites is is Fly on the Wall, and it's Dana Carvey and David Spade.
David Spade. Oh my gosh.
And the most of it is talking about Saturday Night Live, and they have guests on every week, and they're either cast members of Saturday Night Live or people who've associated with the show or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love that one. And then I was really getting into, and I'm not going to get into it here, John, because I know you don't like when I get into the comic booky kind of stuff, but James Gunn is the new director of DC films, right? Comic book films. There's Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, and Aquaman are the big ones there. Green Lantern. And so he was on a podcast with, make sure I get this right, Michael Rosenbaum. And I'm like, why do I know that name? He was Lex Luthor in the Smallville series. But anyway, he's doing a podcast. And then, of course, one of the great ones is Mark Maron, the stand-up comedian who's also an actor with the WTF podcast. I mean, he's had President Obama on. I mean, he's been doing this for many, many years.
Gotcha.
And I'm listening to these, and I'm listening to the quality of the podcast, and I'm thinking, and I know where they're going. And they have these great big celebrity guests on, and I'm listening to Mark Maron, especially when he was talking to Cillian Murphy, who was star of Oppenheimer, which is coming out this weekend. And I'm thinking, wow. And I'm listening to Mark Maron, and he's just speaking intelligently and using these this great vocabulary, and he's speaking about this film and with the actor, and we're talking, and I'm like, wow, I'm Not like that at all.
Oh
I
my.
really
Here we go.
apologize for some of the quality of going on with this podcast. So I just wanted to say, I really appreciate when you listen to this podcast and you take your time to listen to, whatever we have to say. John and I have.
We're just normal guys. That's why the people like us.
I don't know. Speak for yourself. I don't know about. I don't know how
Maybe
normal.
I'm not. I don't know.
Well, I mean, there's a certain ilk.
Yeah.
And we passed up for being in radio. You got to have a little bit of hubris, I think it is.
Yeah.
Into thinking that people want to hear what you have to say.
Although it is near the lowest rung of show business, as they say.
Right? Oh, that was the Don Geronimo.
Yeah.
Who said that radio is one rung above circus clowns.
And magicians. See.
I love Don Geronimo so much.
I know. I miss him. I always thought
like, Don is on. You can listen to him, man. He's on Big 100 now. He's back to doing a morning show.
Washington, D.C. Oh, he's doing mornings?
Yeah, in D.C.
Really?
But you can listen to him online. Yeah, Big 100.
Right. So,
and he's doing the, playing the games. He's doing all the things. It's great to hear him back.
Funny observation, and I always laughed at it being in radio. I thought it was very apropos.
It is very apropos.
I'm trying to use big words now.
Right? Trying to up my game. Sorry, too late, John. They've already got us pegged.
Son of a.
I will say that we passed a milestone yesterday, and I'm using the royal we. We passed the milestone.
Yes.
And I actually missed it. July 15th, which was that Friday? Saturday? Saturday was July 15th. And I completely missed. Wait a minute. What's today? 18th, 17th.
It was Saturday. It was the 15th.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
15th was the anniversary of the launch of Z104 in Washington, D.C. See, there's Z104 there, but that's the one in Frederick. 103.9 FM Z104, and then that was bought,
right?
And for a while it was Extra 104, and then for a while it was the 70s station Extra 104, where I wound up being the program director and then the interim program director at the launch of Z104.
Were they joking around being 70s, or like was it all the
no, dude, no, the 70s? Yeah, no, it was.
I didn't remember that.
I was, yep. And I learned an important lesson. I digress, by the way. Squirrel.
Right. Sorry, I sent you down this rabbit hole.
You did. I learned a very important lesson in programming the 70s station, because we wanted to do a special weekend. We did a number one weekend, right?
Right.
Number one weekend, easy. Every song we played was going to be a number one hit between January 1970 and December 1979.
Okay.
All the number one songs. Not in order, but, all number ones.
Right.
Went to the Joel Whitburn book of top 40, picked out all of the number one songs of the year, of each year. And I realized, don't do that because a large portion of number one songs are ballads. Because the majority of the record buying public that we found was young women that drove the market. Young women drove the market and buying these great songs and making them number one. But it was like sad ballad after sad love song after, not a funeral dirge, but it was some like, we need something to pick up the tempo. Wasn't Get Down Tonight? Wasn't that a number one song?
Yeah,
Can't we throw that in there, please?
Afternoon Delight.
It was hard. It was hard to piece of. I learned an important lesson with that is that you got to break it up. You can play number one songs, but you got to break it up with some tempo. Something light, something snappy, something peppy.
It's a good point.
Anybody
I wouldn't have thought about that.
Nobody's getting that movie reference. Just Greatest Wife Ever and I.
Nobody gets me.
Something light, something snappy, something peppy. Nobody. I quit. I quit, Mr. White. All right. So moving on. It was the anniversary of the launch of Z104 in Washington, D.C. DC's hit music station. I played the first record on that, which was 2 Unlimited. Are you ready for this? Because really what you're doing when you launch a format is you don't have new listeners to your format. You're ticking off, or what they call blowing off, your old cume, your old audience
we're getting
that is
heavy
listening
now.
to it. Yeah, we're getting into the weeds. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Little inside baseball.
Yeah.
But you're blowing them off because they were like listening to Seasons in the Sun from Terry Jackson, and all of a sudden it's this, and they're like, that's not what I want.
Right.
So they're tuning out.
Right.
And you're waiting for word to get around so that they can tune. But I played that, and then what was No Woman, No Cry was big from Fugees, and of course Alanis Morissette. Every song off that album was she was a phenomenon. So you couldn't play a wrong song from Alanis.
Jagged Little Pill. Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
And Ironic was huge, and
Isn't
you ought to know. So all of that stuff. So it was July 15th, 1996. The program director was Dale O'Brien, D.O.B. on the J.O.B., rocking the mic so viciously. And he
what the heck?
he hired me to remain as the assistant program director and music director. So
yes.
But they hired this fantastic air staff, and it was a magical time in Washington D.C. on the God, what did we called it DZ. Everything was Z. DZ. It was 47 Z Grease.
Oh, funny. That's good.
The Z forecast. Yeah.
Right.
Z104 Z forecast. Everything was Z. And then we would get those custom mixes from artists. Like
what was that?
Artists would, somehow throw your station name or a Z into the lyrics.
Oh, right.
What was it? Get ready to bounce. Dun, 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 dun. Who was that group? Brooklyn Bounce. Bounce. Get ready to bounce. It was a dance because we did. Dale took us a little bit more of in a dancey direction, and we were hitting a little bit more of the rhythm,
which made sense for Washington D.C. That's probably
when we first launched.
Yeah.
And but yeah, Brooklyn Bounce. But they gave us a mix that said DZ Bounce. The DZ.
Oh,
it was
good.
DZ. But I had to share this one inside. So we were our offices moved. We moved to studios up, and we were in, I think we're in Arlington, Virginia. We're in Northern Virginia.
Yeah.
And you were looking across the Potomac into Washington, D.C. And you could see the monument from Dale's office. Dale had a corner office, and mine was next to his. And we had what they call a top of the hour, which was at and it's an old analog clock radio jargon, but we had a jingle at the top of the hour. And it was a bed with a lockout. And it was like, it would come Lisa Berrigan. And she's like, hey, this hour we're going to play Ace of Base, ba-da-da. And
then you'd fire
it was a donut, right? And then they had the WWZZ Washington DC or
Legal ID.
Yeah, Legal ID with your call letters, and WWVZ Braddock Frederick. And then the jingle would come in, Z104 Washington. And if Dale wasn't on the phone, even if he was on the phone and his door was open, when that happened, he would stand, and I would come in to his office in a Z104, and we'd salute the Washington.
That's funny.
Nobody knew this. This is just a little insidery stuff that Dale and I did, and then they wound up. They did great things. They had great morning guys. It was the launch of Billy Bush's career. Well, morning guy career. He was a DJ, but he was middays. But Billy Bush in the Bush League, which I thought was hilarious.
That's funny.
It's
good stuff.
So anyway, that was the launch. Was on July 15th. I'm just marking that occasion because I was a brand new dad. Carolina was just born. She was born in June. So and then we gave birth to a radio station
in 96. I'm trying to even think what I was doing then. I think I was about to come into my internet career right about that.
Hadn't you started?
I don't know.
At
It's
like
right
Errol's,
around then because I started
Errol's.
Intercot in 1997. So if it was 96, I may have still been working in real estate.
Oh, speaking of which, go back and watch John's latest Intercut. I loved it. I loved your last podcast that you just
Oh,
did.
thank you. Yeah,
And then the thing I thought was hilarious, and I'm
Yeah.
texting John
What's
over the
that?
weekend because I'm like, oh my gosh, you have a correspondent that is at the Disneyland in Japan, in Tokyo. And I'm like,
Yeah,
this is
Tokyo.
amazing.
Yeah, it's
Then I
great.
found out that it's his son.
We call him Mini Cheese. I'm the big cheese.
You're
He's
the big
Mini
cheese. He's the mini cheese.
Yeah. Yeah. Ron and I talked about this, that isn't it great that our kids get to go places that we've never been able to go and on better vacations than we get to go on? It's fun.
That? What's up
It's
with
awesome.
that?
He went to freaking Hawaii and then to Tokyo on the same trip. Two places that are like on my bucket list to go to. And boom, he's already crossed them off.
Yeah, that's right.
At
well, and they're
age
about the same
27.
age, right?
He's
Aren't
27,
Andrew and
right?
Caroline about the same
Yeah.
age?
20. Yeah. Mhm,
26,
exactly.
27, something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So my younger one was in Europe for almost 3 weeks.
Look at that. Stephanie saying, loved all of Andrew's posts. Yes.
Right? How great was look at that. Very nice.
Thank you for paying attention, Stephanie.
Wow.
I like you even more.
That was I know those posts were pretty cool. It was
You did.
And I didn't realize I'm talking to John. I'm like
so jealous.
I'm texting him like, this is fantastic. And then I start looking down pictures and then he did a selfie and I'm like, oh, it's John's son. Okay, cool.
Okay, so I'm going to plug something then in let's see, about not a little over a week from today on the 26th.
Yes.
I will be in Orlando for the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival Media Day. So follow along with me on all my socials and we'll do some John tries because it's Food and Wine Festival. So try a lot of stuff. So follow along. Thank you.
All right.
At Intercot.
Nice. Beautiful. I'm excited about that. All right. That brings us around to the question of the day. Because it's time to get the gray matter working, fire off the synapses, engage the frontal lobe, form new neural networks, utilize the cerebrum. As Pooh says, it's time to think. Ding. It's the dun, question of the day. Oh, I have to tell you, John.
Yes.
I have to. I digress. Squirrel. Yesterday, I'm on the air at Key 103. I do afternoons at Key 103 in Frederick, WAFY. And you can download the app and listen wherever you are.
Yep.
And I almost said the Ron Ross Morning Show. And it was so close. And then the for Sirius XM almost came out of my mouth. And I'm like, so let's do the question. It was so close.
Yeah, that happens.
Almost.
Almost. I did that at WARX in Hagerstown after I came over. I did a call letter from
Light FM.
I did Light FM. Yeah, I did a Light 100 WVUD.
Yeah,
and I was like, oops.
Did you? Oh, you did the call letters and everything.
Yeah. I was like, wrong station. Sorry, folks. Here we are. So sorry. All right. Question of the day. What do we got?
Oh, here we go. All right. Ready? Today's
I am ready.
Question of the day. Are you ready? Are you ready? 2 films were filmed in Disneyland in 1996 and 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Both had the same actor in it.
Okay.
Name either film or both for a bonus. Name the actor for triple bonus. Pride, not prize.
Okay. 2
films filmed in Disneyland on Disneyland property, 1996 and 2013. Both had the same actor in it. Name either film or both for a bonus. Name the actor for a triple bonus. Good luck.
You got it
right, Don Geronimo.
Thank you. You stole my thunder.
Oh, I did. I totally did. I stole what you were stealing. Whatever, John.
It's okay. All right. Do you know the answer?
Ooh, is this a tough one?
We've got one that came in.
Okay. I actually gave you a clue to one of the films a little bit earlier in the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
You did?
I did. It was very obscure.
I must have missed it.
It was very obscure. All right, what are the answers? Let's go.
You've stumped the crowd.
Ah.
Wow.
No, it's not Bo Bridges.
You've done it.
I did. Was this tough? Was this hard?
This
literally. Was hard, apparently.
Apparently. Yeah. We've got crickets.
Are those the crickets?
Yeah.
Do I have to do a super duper give it away clue? All right. Beth just posted we need a hint.
Yeah. Same with Sandy. Sandy's like, not a clue.
Said not a clue. No, you did have a clue. I gave you a clue a little bit earlier when I said, I quit.
I quit.
I quit. I quit. I quit, Mr. White. Mm-hmm. That is a direct quote from one of the movies.
Okay.
And it was in a microphone just like this.
Yeah, which is that the one?
That's one. That's one of them.
Is that?
And you knew the other one.
O-N-E?
Yeah.
See where I'm going, right?
Yes, right.
Okay.
No, nothing? Wow. Let me give you another clue.
Wow.
Oscar-winning actor.
Okay.
He had 2 Oscars in a row. 2 Best Actor Oscars in a row. Not for any of these films. Although he was nominated for the second one. The first one he wrote and directed and co-starred in. The 1996 film. He wrote. First film he ever directed.
Yeah. What was that on the Playtone label?
That's where he created it. Yeah, because now every production after this is after that movie is on a Playtone. I just saw one last week called Greyhound about these sub hunters. Yes, Jim, Tom Hanks. But you didn't name the films.
Yeah, wait.
The question. The question was the films. The films. Wow. Keep going. What do we do?
Go a little while. Maybe you can give some
a little bit more, a little longer. I feel bad now. I feel like I maybe was that thing you do. There you go, Rachel. That's it. Woo!
Man, I was throwing out the one O-N-E.
You. Doing that thing you do. Come on.
That's
a scene movie. James Mattingly at the end he wanted to do his own songs and he's in the studio. I quit, Mr. White. Mr. White was played by Tom Hanks, and there's one scene, the only scene, and at the time it was the first film ever filmed actually in Disneyland, was the bass player who was called TB Player. He didn't have a name. And it was played by Ethan Embry, was with the, thank you, Rachel. I love that movie too. Was with the Marines at Disneyland instead of going to be on the Galaxy of Stars television show that evening. And then the second film would be Saving Mr. Banks, starring Tom Hanks as Walt Disney.
Right. And it's weird. I could not come up with the name of that movie. I knew it was Mary
Tom
Poppins.
Hanks. Yeah, right. You called it Mary Poppins. I'm like, no, that's not. No.
But I mean, I knew it was about.
It's not Mary Poppins. That thing you do and Saving Mr. Banks were both filmed at Disney, or have scenes filmed at Disneyland, in Disneyland. 2 of the only films, I believe, filmed in Disneyland. And they both had Never Saw That Thing You Do. Stephanie, it's okay. Now you can, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Because later, I don't know how it happened, but it just became one of those films that was integral to our family. And that'll be a discussion for another time of movies that are special just in your family. It could be a big hit. It could be just a little thing, but that's one of those films, that thing you do. So I'll get into that a little bit later on.
A lot of folks haven't seen it, by the way.
No, it kind of bombed. It was a big summertime movie. He wrote it and directed it and wrote some music in it too. I love the soundtrack. And yes. Tom Hanks didn't do so great. It didn't do so great at the box office. They traded on his name for a little while, and then it just didn't really work. But the band, the actors who played the band, actually learned their instruments and would perform the songs. So
they did like a Monkees.
No, they did, but they didn't. No, they learned their instruments. They knew how to play. Musicians. So when you're watching them play, and I'm watching them play,
okay,
the Tom Everett Scott, who played Guy Patterson, the drummer.
So they learned the music.
He learned how to play the drums. He was playing the drums.
I got you. Okay, that's a cool one.
Yeah, because I can't stand. I'm sorry, that's just one of my pet peeves. When you have an actor who's playing a musician, and they're just doing this on the guitar, and they're not playing any actual chords, or
they film them from the back,
or nothing, and
or the side,
or
just close up on the hands where they get somebody else to play the actual song. Yeah, we noticed these things.
What's his name? A Star Is Born. Who was the actor in that? The Oscar nominated with Lady Gaga.
It was Gaga and
oh my gosh,
Bradley Cooper.
Yes, he was very close to miming playing the guitar, but it was just enough for me to go, yeah, no, he's not playing the guitar. So do I just get PR? Yes, you just get PR.
Is that pride?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Pride.
It's pride minus the I'd.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. But yeah, that's one of those. And again, I digress.
Okay.
And I'm taking time away from what I really wanted to talk about, which was, and I posted this yesterday. So one of my favorite artists, and this goes back to the Z104 days, when I was the assistant program director and music director at Z104, and I had a poster in the back of me of this band called the Greenberry Woods. And the Greenberry Woods, they were on Sire Records, I think, and it was very much the 90s jangle pop kind of stuff. And I loved every song on that album. And they played a Z104 Great Bathtub Race in Frederick. I got them to play in Frederick because two of the guys, the twins, Matt and Brent Huseman, are from Middletown, Maryland, which is where I live. And they had met at the University of Maryland. Anyway, so I had a record rep who was sitting across from me. I forget her name, and she was with Warner Electra Asylum. There were three labels together. And what they would do in Top 40 radio is record reps would have an appointment with you, and they would come and bring you new music and play new music for you to listen to and decide whether your radio station was going to play it. Sometimes it was artists you knew. Sometimes it was artists you were breaking new artists. One of the songs that we broke was Barbie Girl, appropriately enough, with Barbie coming out this weekend.
Yeah.
And LSO. What was the song? New Kids on the Block have a bunch of hits.
Who did Barbie Girl?
Summer Girls. Aqua.
Aqua.
Yeah. Okay. Hang on. Where is it? It's one of those gold records back there is Aqua.
Just in case people are playing.
That's it right there. Aqua. Barbie
Okay.
Girl. There's my gold record.
Look at that.
That's from Z, and this is all from Z104 in DC.
For those who are listening, Ron is pointing at things on his wall.
Oh, I'm pointing at all the gold records that are on the back of my wall. I'm sorry, you're right.
Just see a little background.
This is why I have a really bad podcast. So
use bigger words, Ron.
I'm talking to this record rep and promotional rep from the Warner Electra Asylum, and she's like, and she looks at the Greenberry Woods. She goes, "Oh, if you like them, see what you think of this." And she hands me a CD. It's the 90s. And it was a guy named Jason Faulkner. And she says he used to be in a band called Jellyfish, which was like, I want to say 90, 91 maybe. Then later on, he was in a super group called The Grays. But anyway, so he's a virtuoso. He plays every instrument, and this was his solo album called Jason Faulkner Presents Author Unknown. And so I took it home and I'm listening to it, and I was literally sitting in the living room listening to it, and Greatest Wife Ever is like, well, are you wowed yet? And it was song after song after song. It was no filler, all killer. Every song was great, in my opinion. And and it just kept doing this and got better and better and better. And they had an emphasis track, a single that was coming off of that called Follow Me from Jason Faulkner. And I couldn't play it. We couldn't play it at Z104 because we were more on the dance tip and we were doing more of the top 40 stuff. This was much more in the alternative vein. And I literally called over friends at HFS and said, you guys need to play this, which I think they did for a little while. And I called over a friend of mine who was at DC 101. I'm like, you guys need to play this, which I don't know whether they did or didn't, but I was working the record for this artist because I really believed in this artist.
Ron was on the street team.
Oh, there he is right there. There's Jason Faulkner right there. Okay. I'm pointing to a flat, what they call a flat, like a 12-inch, like it was from an album that when I went to go see him, he played at the Black Cat in DC. And he signed that for me, which was very nice of him. But the song Follow Me didn't get any traction, didn't go anywhere because apparently they were sinking a lot of money into another band that they had signed. They had spent a lot of money to sign this band, and they had to make it like a big hit. So they promoted it a lot, and it was Third Eye Blind, and the song was Semi-Charmed Life. Big hit, right? I can still contend to this day that Jason Faulkner Follow Me could have been another radio hit or something to launch him into the mainstream. So he never really went into the mainstream. He had a follow-up album after that called Do You Still Feel? And then he, that was it for that. I think the label, he was on Elektra, I think they dropped him. And I go back and listen to that album every year of the month, all the way through from beginning to end, because I love it so. And he's just one of those artists that I've been, and then he shows up. I'm watching the Foo Fighters tribute show to Taylor Hawkins, and they are playing in London, I think at the Wembley or at Arena, whatever. And it was way before the Foo Fighters came out. So it was all these different artists that were coming out. And they were talking about this artist, Jeff Buckley, who was another one of these great artists that never really went mainstream.
It happens.
And you only know like one song from him, his version of Hallelujah. But they bring out Dave Grohl of the Foo Fighters is going to play on the drums. And they're going to do a couple of Jeff Buckley songs because Taylor Hawkins really loved Jeff Buckley, right? And they bring out Violet, I believe, is Dave Grohl's daughter, who's going to sing this song. And this guitarist, who I don't know exactly off the top of my head. And this other guitarist, which was Jason Faulkner. And there he is just showing up. And I'm like, oh my God.
So he's probably like playing on other people's stuff.
He's playing a lot with Beck.
Yeah.
He did.
Nice.
At one time, he did 2 CDs of Bedtime with the Beatles, where he did Beatles songs, but he arranged them for strings and lullabies. And you can buy a pink or a blue. And at that time, whenever somebody in my family had a child, I just went on Amazon and sent them either a pink or a blue Bedtime with the Beatles CD for their child. And they would love it. But that's one of those artists. Now we opened this show with another artist, and it's such a long story that I'm just not going to get into.
Yeah, you got 14 minutes in there or something like that. So
I know. Which because I want to give you your time, and then we had such great answers from listeners.
Yeah, exactly.
On where is that though? I don't have that. Exit full screen. Oh, there it is. I need to move this over here so I can read this. Sorry.
Ron is now moving items.
I'm sorry. I had to move some stuff around. I had to move some stuff around so I could read it on my other screen.
Right.
Of people who talked about some of their favorite artists, and some I've heard of, some I haven't heard heard of at all, which I think
Okay.
is really cool because now I'm going to go back and listen to these,
Yeah.
and find these artists, and because I love being exposed to super cool music. And so there's a band. I want to say they're out of Baltimore, but they're not out of Baltimore. They were out of West Virginia, and then I think Pittsburgh was in their DNA. And we opened this with the first song off their first album, 1975. And it was a self-titled debut album called Crack the Sky. And John Palumbo was the singer-songwriter. He still is. Singer-songwriter, wrote all the music, and then these unbelievable musicians, and very quote-unquote, I don't know if you want to call them prog rock at the time. It was very proggy. It was the Rolling Stone album of the year. And it never caught on. It was, and I don't know, there are big long articles about this and all that, but there were like 4 different incarnations of the band, one without John Palumbo. Anyway, like I'm getting way into the weeds.
Yeah.
But look it up, Crack the Sky. They're still playing to this day. Now they have Dave DeMarco on the bass, but the original drummer's back, and the original guitar player, Rick Wachowski, and Bobby Hurd, who was in the 80s version of it. Anyway, they're playing now and recording new albums and releasing new albums, but they're still out there. Crack the Sky. Love it. And
I think, by the way, there are a lot of bands like that maybe were a little bit ahead of their time or came out at a time where another song was huge and it just was not the priority. I could name a bunch of them, and I will probably at some point.
Go ahead. Well, okay, I mean, I'm done. Those are my 2 big ones. And then, of course, I could go on and on about Tommy Conwell and the Young Rumblers and
Philadelphia's own,
and how Columbia Records ruined them. But again, in my opinion,
Rick Chertoff blew their sound.
I wasn't naming names. I'm just saying, in my humble opinion.
I'm going to name it because he did. Such a great. I have the original Tommy Conwell cassette.
Walking on Water, independent released. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I have the vinyl.
Fantastic. And then you went and got the debut album, and they redid a bunch of the songs. They didn't make them better.
No, did not.
No,
did not make them better. All they had to do was go back in and remaster Walking on Water, put that out. Would have been number 1. I'm Not Your Man could have been a number 1 song, or at least it was a rock song. It was a great rock song. Killer hook.
Still not a bad song, but
which they killed in the major label release with the baby before I could do.
Yeah, that was just dumb. Why did they do that? Anyway, I'll name a few. Okay.
Go ahead.
Alpha Rev is one. Casey McPherson. Go check that out. New Morning was the song. I think it was with what was the show with McDreamy or whatever, that doctor show with
the doctor show. Yeah, that's don't tell me.
It was on that
Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, it was a huge song, had a huge hit.
Yeah.
And their first debut album was fantastic, and then Disney dropped them. They were on I think Hollywood Records or something.
Okay.
So anyway, other ones, Bourgeois Tog.
One hit. One hit, and that was it.
I know. Fantastic.
I don't
mind
at all. Great song.
Yeah. And Brett Bourgeois went on and had a couple solo albums. Fantastic, though. Great stuff. I mean, 80s production to the max. It was overlays and just stuff that you didn't hear at that time. Speaking of one other one, and then my final one, Toy Matinee, which was Kevin Gilbert, guitar virtuoso, got played on 99.1 HFS. The Ballad of Jenny Ledge. Look that one up. Fantastic. Okay. And Patrick Leonard, who produced like Madonna and other stuff. This was his group.
Okay.
Fantastic. Just go see it. And finally, my favorite, Marillion. Practically, they invented crowdfunding legitimately. Go look that up. TED Talk on that. It didn't exist pretty much before them. And they've had like 2 or 3 hits over the course of the years. Never big. There's a lot of bands like that were not big here, but were big elsewhere, like these guys.
Aha. Yeah, one song, Take on Me, but huge career.
This is from last year.
Yeah,
New
yeah.
album.
And the
All
singer still has that great has that
he-
incredible
Oh
voice.
my gosh, he's killer.
Still
But
has an
anyway,
incredible voice.
those are a few of mine for you to go explore and go down a rabbit hole. Ron, what?
I think there might be a part 2 on this because I want to give
Yeah.
a lot of credence to the to our listeners who have posted on our Facebook page, which I just love. One is Rich Moxley. I got to tell you a little bit about Rich. Rich is a guitar player. Rich plays in Blues Vultures and a bunch of other bands, and he's doing a lot of solo stuff. But Rich, Blues Vultures is Ronnie Youngkins, formerly of Kix, and he has his own band called Blues Vultures, and it's very roots rock and roll.
Yep.
And Rich is a guitar player, but he posted, he's like, I couldn't believe when I posted the picture or the song She Goes to Bed from Jason Faulkner, and he's like, I love Jason Faulkner, but he says I can name a ton of names, so I got to give him a little credit. Nikki Sutton, Dave Cusworth, Kevin Kinney, the Angels or Angel City in the States, and he says the list goes on. He also posted like really early stuff of Susie Quattro. You might remember Susie Quattro as Leather Tuscadero on Happy Days, but nothing could be further from Susie Quattro's career than that, because her stuff, she was a badass, man. Susie Quattro, her early stuff, look it up. Now, my brother stepped in.
Jett,
Craig said Big Head Todd and the Monsters.
Yeah.
They had that one song.
Yeah.
Was it Bittersweet? Bittersweet. It's a long song. Let's see. Stephanie said The Lone Below or The Lone Bellow. Lone Bellow.
Is that a group or
I don't know. It says The Lone Bellow, Green Eyes and a Heart of Gold live on the Honda stage. You got to look at that. That's on YouTube.
Okay.
That she posted.
Good.
Jim said underrated, mostly unknown outside of Northeast Pennsylvania. The Drama Club cut a track with Ben Burnley of Breaking Benjamin called Brand New Day. I saved this one for extremely bad days. I share with you and the world, hoping it brings a smile to all who listen. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that. Yeah. Jim Court said Doug and the Slugs from Vancouver. Michael Stanley Band. I have heard of Michael Stanley Band.
Yes.
I think they had one hit or something like that.
Were they?
And the producers.
Is that Pittsburgh Michael Stanley Band?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
I want to say it is.
Slim Bob has
Donnie
even been
Iris.
Grammy nominated twice. Brilliant and great entertainer. Kind of a swamp rock sound. He's freaking amazing. That's great. I had another one. Who was it on here? Lisa said Amos Lee, Josh Kelly, or is it Josh and Kelly? Dave Barnes, just to name a few. Someone also said Greta Van Fleet, threw that in there. I can't remember who that was. But anyway, I think we're going to have to pick this up. Oh, Black 47. Well, Black 47. Yeah, James, that's your basic Celtic rock, punk rock right there. Black 47. I think the singer that used to host the St. Patrick's Day on Sirius XM on like the Spectrum or something like that, as I recall, from Black 47. So yeah, the list goes on and on of great artists that for some reason or another never really went mainstream. But there are some that are still, they're recording, they go out and play shows, and that's how they make their living. It's what they're doing. And
that's what happens. I think they just they live off a few hits, or they have great careers outside of the United States. Like Philadelphia's own the Hooters were just on tour in Germany. It did like 15, 20 dates overseas because they're huge over there.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, people know them here. Another Rick Chertoff production in their debut album. All
You Zombies. And what was the other one?
Day by Day.
No.
And We Danced.
And We Danced. That was it.
That was 3 hits, by the way, off their first album. All You Zombies
was
the rock hit, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, I'm thinking of Daughter of the Younger.
Yes.
She was way into the pop punk bands, and so there were a lot that she mentioned. Well, one of the ones that facilitated her actually meeting her boyfriend He was at University of Maryland. She went to Towson, but they shared an affinity for a band called Modern Baseball, which
Cool name.
yeah, exactly. See, but I mean, if you're in that pop punk world, then you know exactly who I'm talking about. And I think one or two members were from Brunswick, Maryland, like right down the road. And yeah, Modern Baseball. That and that whole genre of artists that just sell merchandise like crazy. They download songs that are Soccer Mommy is another one that I know.
Liking these names.
She's way into them. She got to meet him. She got to meet her, Soccer Mommy. And it's gosh, it's ethereal, like dream pop kind of thing. It's real. Look it up, man. I'm telling you, I love these artists. And then of course, the flagship one that she and I really bonded over is All Time Low out of Towson, Maryland. Now they have had one or two mainstream hits, and they're kind of firmly implanted in that world with Blink 182 and that whole thing. And they're veterans. They've been around for almost 20 years now with All Time Low and putting out. And see,
yeah, like
they sell out shows and they tour with Green Day, over in England, and they sell out, and All Time Low. I love those guys. Look up those albums. They're great. All right, we're gonna have to wrap it up because I have what they call a hard out. I actually literally have to go to work and do stuff.
Oh, nice.
So I'm a little bit on a time constraint.
You have work to do?
I have work to do. But I have work to do at work, which I'm excited about. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I think maybe we can pick this up a little bit next week and dip into this, and then and we'll talk about films that resonate with your family. So think about that. I'm going to post that up next week, and then and you know what? I've been remiss, and I apologize. I'm going to start posting the Friday song again on Fridays because I think. Well, there's Neil Morse.
You're smiling, but we had to go out with something, right?
We had to go out with something. Right. But we'll do the Friday song, and then you can post your videos of you singing the Friday song.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
You can pop that up in the comment section. It's radio Ron Ross Radio on Facebook. It's on Twitter, and we're on Instagram on our socials. Look for this podcast. It's going to be it'll be immediately available on Facebook. It's on YouTube. Share it with your friends wherever you get your podcasts and listen to them. And we really, really do appreciate you listening to us and taking some time to hang out with us, even though it's a substandard podcast.
So we've learned.
Compared to the professionals that I listen to.
Apparently.
I'm listening to them. I'm going, oh my God, they're so good.
We need to have a word of the day or something. Yeah,
I'm going to try to have a guest. I'm working on getting a guest.
Okay.
Not next week, but maybe the week after that.
Good.
A big star.
Good.
Who's a personal friend of mine.
All right.
I'm kidding. We'll try to get a big star on here. Though I've been talking to her.
I know who it is.
I'm going to put it at that. I will leave it at that. We'll see if she's available. All right. Listen, please take care of yourselves and each other. Please be safe. Ron Ross, love you, mean it. Bicycle.
Bye now.